I just want to say to every American that's having trouble with this, I am sorry I voted for him. I regret it with all my heart. I feel like I've enabled this monster to destroy democracy, destroy everything that is good in this country.
We've got a very crazy man driving the train, and he's going to kill this country.
I just think there's no values left anymore. There should be values. We have no values. He doesn't have any values. I thought he had values.
Did y'all hear about the Latino Trump supporters that are devastated about him doing exactly what he said he was going to do?
This is so crazy that we voted for Trump. We trust him with the word that he promised us Latinos. Next week, multiple cities will be hitting immigration. That is so crazy that multiple people are scared to go to work. When I work as Latinos and I go to work, and that's crazy because we have a living too. I hate that I voted for him. Now I'm so scared for my family. We need to come together and do something about this.
You know what you all want me to do? You want me to make fun of her, to say I told you so, to say FAFO, but I feel for her. I have empathy sometimes too, you know? And so I'm going to play this tiny violin for her. Look, y'all, there isn't a lot that I can say that they haven't told her already. Let me just say that he is keeping the promises that he said he was going to. At no point was the man not clear about his intentions. I do feel for her family. But I want to focus on the last statement she made, where she says that it's time to come together and do something. I don't think it's too late. Too late to try and find out ways to support. Too late for her to go to people that voted in the same way that she did, that thought in the same way that she did, about her realization, and have them to try and come and support the most vulnerable group. That may not fix things, but more support is always needed.
On this FAFO edition of And let's dive into this story together, shall we? There's an article released by Baptist News Global that's titled "Organizer Says Latino Pastors Struggle After Voting for Rump." Faced with deportations of their church members, some Latino pastors who voted for Donald in 2024 now regret their choice, according to Agustin Quiles. Agustin Quiles, who was a keynote speaker at the Compassion and Justice Conference back on February 20th and 21st in Austin, Texas, told a story of a pastor who called begging for his help because his right-hand person at the church had been deported by the current administration. Augustine asked the pastor who did he vote for in the presidential election, to which the pastor replied, "You know who I voted for." Augustine said, "I know. Why did you do it?" The pastor responded by giving a vague answer about freedom of religion, which, in my opinion, freedom of religion for a lot of these folks translates to, I want my religious beliefs to supersede everybody else's beliefs by law. And his other reason for the vote is concern about transgender people, which to me basically is voting on an issue that does not affect a majority of the population. Augustine offered the pastor a hypothetical question. What if an immigration agent came to the pastor's door right then and now and offered to bring back his deported church members if the pastor would change his vote in the 2024 presidential election? Would the pastor do that? The pastor responded, yes, with sorrow. And since that pastor is feeling deep regret and sorrow for his vote, may I offer him some thoughts and prayers that will absolutely do nothing in his case. Because they voted for it, now they have to live with it. But in conclusion, to the pastor, all I do have to say to you is, have the day you voted for. Bye.
Latinos for Trump are speaking out in frustration, saying that they feel betrayed. They say they showed loyalty, they voted in large numbers, but they say their communities remain to be the most targeted by aggressive deportations, racial profiling, and fear on the streets. And the truth is, none of this was hidden. Mass deportation were a central promise of Trump's campaign, and yet millions still voted for him. Now many are asking a difficult question. Do they vote against our own community? Let's have a look.
The American flag stands for compassion, kindness, liberty, and justice for all.
So Cynthia is on the internet crying because she voted for Trump, knowing that her father was undocumented and he got deported. Not only did he get deported, but he has stage 4 cancer. And I hate to be the one to kick someone when they're down, but to be on here talking about the American flag stands for liberty, kindness. Since when, ma'am? Since when? Because not in Black American history has it ever stood for that. Not in recent American history did it ever stand for that. And for the people who are the Latinos for Trump saying that, I didn't know that I was going to get, I didn't. What about the giant mass deportation now signs? What about build the wall? What about Trump's whole first presidency made you think that this would be okay? And I'm sorry, I have no tears. No tears whatsoever. This is the consequence of your actions. And for all those other people who voted for Trump and got exactly what they thought would happen to other people, it's sad, but sometimes you have to learn the lesson the hard way.
Anytime I see a member of the Latin community who says they regret voting for Trump, my first instinct, because I am an empath, is to empathize with them. But then instantly I'm like, no, I can't. Because they had no empathy for their own people. And for me, that just doesn't sit right with me. There are a lot of decisions in life that we can make right on. We can't go back in time, but we can make right on a lot of the decisions that we make. But when you make a decision like that, there really is no coming back. Everything right now that's going on in LA, it truly saddens me. As someone who has a lot of friends who are Latin, born and raised in LA, I can only imagine how they feel. Earlier today, I saw a girl who posted about her regret for voting for Trump because her dad is now being deported. She asked for him to get a medical early release so he could come back. She posted her phone call and she was denied over the phone. And I do feel sorry for her. But at the same time, you made this decision. You wanted to be on that side of history, and now this is what's happening.
Now, Randy, what'd you just say?
I said you were right about Trump.
What was I right about Trump? About what? Explain.
Everything.
Okay, I need to hear more. Like everything. Like
get rid of my peoples. Wars about to start. What else? Actually, none of the things you talked about, but some even worse.
What are some of the things I talked about?
Women's rights.
You didn't really care about that, though, right? Women's rights wasn't important, but when they start messing with your money and sending your people. I see.
So recently they did a focus group where they invited several Latinos. All these Latinos voted for Trump, and they stated that they regret their votes for Trump because of the economy and mass deportations, which was Trump. Trump was really transparent on these particular issues. He'd been running on border security for over half a decade. He'd been running on tariffs and who could use which bathroom and who could play in whose sports. So there's no possible way you could really have voters remorse when Trump was completely transparent. I just find it interesting that this study comes out after Trump took funding from this grant for Hispanics and redirected those funds to HBCUs. This is very telling, and they go on and say that if it was a do-over, they still wouldn't vote for Kamala. They'll vote for a third party or stay home. How Mano say it? Hi haters, remember that song? Yeah.
Another Latino Trump supporter regrets his vote after he's detained by ICE, man. Before I give you guys my take on this, I want to tell you what ICE done with this Trump shit, right? I don't vote. I don't get involved. I went viral making fun of Trump, and I went viral saying something that was pro-Trump, right? I'm in the middle, bro, making fun of both sides, man. When one side does something good, I'm like, yo, that's not a bad thing, right? But this video is about self-awareness and why it is so important for you to possess it, right? Because it's like, I'm an immigrant. I'm Latino, right? When I heard Trump say that he's going to be deporting all the criminals, while my brain interpreted is that it didn't matter whether you were committing crimes or not, because once you cross into this country legally, you are a criminal, right? Latinos heard, no, he's only going to be getting rid of the bad ones, the Venezuelans, the people that are beating up cops, the people that are stealing, the people that are robbing people on mopeds. It's only the bad guys. What my brain also heard is like, yo, once these ICE agents are given the green light, bro, anybody that looks like they're going to come over here, man, could potentially be arrested or getting stopped. I had a viewer of mine from Chicago. She's Mexican and Japanese. Japanese, right? She told me in one of my live streams that in Chicago, she got stopped, you know, at a grocery store, man, by some ICE agents talking about, you look like you don't got papers, yo. And she was like, what? And whatever, she showed the ID and they apologized. And I'm like, yo, you had a lawsuit right there. I'm pretty sure you could have done something there, man. I would not have let that go. I would have whipped out the phone, man, and I would have started recording. But anyway, man, self-awareness is a thing, people. Like, I understand that the Democrats, I mean, they went batshit crazy. They don't even know how many genders there were anymore, right? So I get why so many people say, yeah, we can't do that no more, right? But remember, once you come over here and decide, you have to understand what it is that you're opening the door to. You feel me? And a lot of Latinos, man, are like, damn, we messed up, right? There was that Cuban truck driver, right? They've been here 20 years, don't speak English. Trump said, if you can't speak English, you can't drive a truck. He came over, he was celebrating Trump's victory, bro. He came on the internet crying like, oh, this motherfucker, how you gonna do it? I've been here 20 years. Bro, you've been here 20 years, man, and he was not old. He was like in his early 40s. That means that he came here when he was young enough to learn the language. But yeah, man, yeah, better be careful what you vote for. That's why I don't get involved, bro, because I see you for what it is, man.
I can't help but think of how many Latino men voted for Trump. Like, most of yesterday's coverage was about the Latino vote, which was really inspiring in some way to actually be front and center, right? To have a conversation around us and our community and how impactful we would be. I just didn't think that a lot of us would be so fucking stupid. And I'm sorry to be so crude, but the fact that so many Latino men voted for Trump really speaks volumes. I mean, he's like, I think we should really think about that. Like, a lot of us aren't happy with what happened last night, this morning. I mean, I couldn't even fucking sleep. It's just a nightmare. It feels like we're back in 2016. This feels like a fucking nightmare. But we should never forget. Honestly, we should never forget the Latino men who voted for Trump. Because that is so telling. So telling. And if we thought that machismo in our communities was fading, I hope this is a reminder that it is not. It is, I think, the reason why a lot of Latino men voted for Trump. They'd be more willing to vote for a fucking rapist, a felon, than a woman. And a woman of color at that. Like, it's disgusting. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine these next 4 years and like what this means for so many people. And I know people think it's like, oh, you're just being dramatic, you're over exaggerating, but like the Senate is now red. Like, these very radicalized people have been now put in places of power. Like, these are people who will never go down without a fight. That should be scary. Like, that is frightening. And I'm so shocked. Like, I honestly thought we had it, like, for so many months. I genuinely thought we had it. It's crazy. And I just hope that this is a reminder for so many of us that, like, we need to come together, because hate on the other side is coming together so much faster. They are able to mobilize in a way that we can't, because we just can't get it together. Like, this is going to continue to happen if we just can't come together. Like, ugh.
So there was a poll that came out today that said that 1 in every 5 Latinos that voted for Trump now regret their vote. Sometimes I read shit like this and I think to myself, did you really need a damn poll for that? Do these people live in such a bubble that they need somebody to tell them there are people out there that are regretting their votes? There are people out there that's pissed off. It's like they live in a whole nother country, but still in the same country. Now, I'm not Latino and I can't speak for any Latino people or anything like that. But I do know this. From the stuff that I've been seeing and the messages that people have been sending me, it's more than regret. People are pissed off. They are upset. They feel let down, and I can't blame them. But there's still a significant amount of people who don't regret their vote. So it's really just so much about a matter of perspective. And to be honest with you, we just gonna have to see how this all work out at the end.
As this story continues to unfold, one thing is becoming clear. Politics has real consequences. Campaign slogans, promises, and policies don't just stay on a debate stage. They eventually show up in people's daily lives. For some Latino voters who supported Trump, the expectation was that his policies would focus primarily on undocumented immigrants who had committed serious crimes. Many believed their own families, businesses, and neighborhoods would not be directly affected. Others supported him because of concern about the economy, inflation, border security, or cultural values. But politics rarely works in neat categories. When a government promises large-scale immigration enforcement, those policies often ripple through entire communities. Even legal residents and citizens can feel the impact. Businesses that rely on migrant customers may struggle if people are afraid to leave their homes. Workers may avoid public spaces if they fear being questioned or even profiled. Families can experience anxiety even when they are following the law. And this is where the frustration we are hearing from some Latino Trump supporters begins. They say they believe their support would be recognized. They believe their loyalty would matter. Some thought their vote would prove that they were on the right side politically. But politics doesn't always operate based on individual loyalty. Governments usually implement broad policies, and those policies affect millions of people at once. For many observers, the situation highlights a long-standing debate in American politics about identity and policy. Should people vote primarily based on their economic interest, their cultural values, their immigration views, or their sense of national identity? Different voters prioritize different things. For voters who are now expressing regret, the lesson may be that campaign promises should always be taken seriously. Across social media, some Latino voters are now reflecting on their decisions. Some say, but they still support the border agenda, but wish enforcement was handled differently. Others say they underestimated how deeply their communities would be affected. But regardless of where someone stands politically, this moment reinforces a fundamental truth about democracy. Voting is powerful, and choices at the ballot box shape real policies. Every election cycle, voters are faced with complicated decisions. Candidates promise change, solutions, and stronger leadership. But once elections are over, those promises become policies, and those policies create real-world outcomes, sometimes in ways voters did not fully anticipate. The larger takeaway here may not just be about one political figure or one election. It's about the responsibility that comes with political participation. Democracy depends on informed choices. It depends on voters looking closely at what candidates say they will do, how they plan to do it, and who might be affected. The lesson may be simple, but powerful. In politics, promises matter, policies matter, and every vote comes with consequences. The question now is, what voters will do with that lesson moving forward? Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.